My name's Emily Carter. I'm 29, and I used to believe that keeping quiet made you the bigger person, until the day my silence became their entertainment. It started on an ordinary Thursday night, the kind where you scroll through your phone just to fall asleep faster. But that night, my thumb froze. My heart actually skipped, because right there, glowing on my screen, was my ex's sister's Instagram story. A meme of a crying woman, captioned, "When he finally realizes you're not wife material." It wasn't just a random post. It was me. My photo, blurred just enough to give them deniability, but not enough to hide the truth. The comments underneath? Laughing emojis. Heart reacts. A few of our mutual friends even tagged Ryan, my ex, and he replied with a smirking emoji. I remember staring at the screen until my vision blurred. My name wasn't written anywhere, but it didn't need to be. Everyone who knew us knew. At first, I thought I'd ignore it, rise above, stay quiet, let it fade. But that night, as I scrolled through Linda's posts, Ryan's mom, I saw something that broke me a little more. A photo of Ryan with his new girlfriend. Captioned, "When your son finally meets a woman who knows her worth." It wasn't just humiliation. It was a public execution of my dignity, done by people I once called family. I remember throwing my phone face down on the bed, my chest tight, my throat burning. I wasn't angry yet, just empty. But as the days passed and the posts kept coming, something inside me started to shift. You can only let people rewrite your story for so long before you decide to take the pen back. And when I finally did, when I hit post on that first screenshot, I didn't realize just how fast their perfect little world would start to crumble. Ryan and I met 3 years ago at an open house he was hosting. He was this confident, well-dressed realtor with the kind of smile that made you forget what you were looking for in the first place. I wasn't planning to fall for him. I was just there helping a friend find her first apartment. But somehow, by the end of the day, I had Ryan's number saved under the realtor guy. We started dating soon after, and for a while, everything felt effortless. He was funny, protective, ambitious, everything my mom told me to look for. But from the very first time I met his family, I could feel that invisible wall between us. His mom, Linda, was the kind of woman who spoke in compliments that hurt. She'd smile at me and say things like, "Oh, you're so brave wearing flats. I could never be that casual in public." His dad, Mark, mostly stayed quiet, his eyes always on his phone, nodding at whatever Linda said. Then there was Chloe, Ryan's younger sister, an influencer with a perfectly curated life. Every brunch was a photo shoot, every conversation a potential caption. At first, she acted friendly. She'd tag me in her posts, make little TikToks when I was around. But it didn't take long before her jokes about girls who date up started cutting deeper. Still, I tried. I laughed along, brought flowers to family dinners, even offered to help Linda set up her online boutique. I thought if I just kept being kind, they'd eventually accept me. But behind those smiles, I always sensed something sharp, like they were waiting for me to mess up. And maybe I did. Maybe loving their son made me too comfortable, too trusting. Because the things I told Ryan, the things I shared in confidence, somehow became whispers in their home. And by the time our relationship started falling apart, I realized they weren't just bystanders. They were waiting for their moment to take sides. And when they finally did, they made sure the whole internet watched. The first crack in our relationship showed up in the smallest way: unread messages. Ryan started replying slower, giving half-hearted excuses about being too busy with clients. Nights we used to spend watching movies turned into him scrolling through his phone, laughing quietly at something I wasn't part of. I tried to tell myself it was just stress. Everyone goes through phases. But deep down, that uneasy feeling kept growing, the one that whispers, something isn't right. One evening, while he was in the shower, his phone lit up on the counter. I didn't plan to look, but my eyes caught the preview of a message. "Can't wait to see you again." My stomach dropped. The name attached to it was Sarah, one of his coworkers. When I confronted him, he didn't even deny it right away. Just sighed, rubbed his face, and said, "Emily, you're overreacting. It's harmless flirting. Harmless." That word echoed in my head for days. A week later, I packed my things and left his apartment quietly. No scene, no screaming, just silence. I told myself I'd keep my dignity, that walking away was better than begging for respect. But silence doesn't protect you when people are desperate to control the narrative. 2 weeks after the breakup, my phone started buzzing nonstop. Friends sending me screenshots. Comments tagging me under posts from Chloe. Her story showed Ryan smiling with a caption, "Finally free from the drama." Another post said, "Some women are lessons, not losses." Then came Linda's turn. She uploaded a family photo, all of them smiling at dinner, writing, "When your son finally meets a woman who knows how to love properly." I felt my chest cave in. My hands shook scrolling through the comments, subtle, cruel, and public. A few mutual friends even joined in, joking, "Took him long enough." No one tagged me, but they didn't need to. Everyone who mattered knew exactly who they were talking about. I stayed offline for days. I deleted the apps, cried until my eyes burned. I told myself I'd move on, that they'd get bored eventually. But then, one morning, I opened Instagram just to check a message and saw a meme Chloe had posted. A woman crying with smeared mascara. Caption, "When your ex's mom likes his new girlfriend's post." That's when something inside me snapped. They wanted a show? They were about to get one. I remember sitting on the edge of my bed, phone in hand, staring at that meme. My chest felt hollow, but my pulse was loud, angry, alive. I wasn't crying anymore. I was done crying. I opened my notes app, scrolled through the things I'd written down during my relationship with Ryan, things I swore I'd never use. Screenshots, receipts, late-night messages that used to mean everything. They wanted attention. They were about to get it. The first thing I posted wasn't explosive, just a black screen with white text. Sometimes silence isn't grace. Sometimes it's just gathering receipts. No names, no tags, but my inbox blew up instantly. People knew. I could almost feel them watching my story. Ryan, Linda, Chloe, all of them. An hour later, I posted the first screenshot, a text from Linda, asking me if I could help pay for Ryan's surprise birthday dinner last year because he deserves to be celebrated properly. She had sent me a Venmo request for $200, even though she'd bragged about her new Louis Vuitton purse that same week. The next slide was a message from Ryan, dated just a month before our breakup. "Don't tell my mom I'm seeing Sarah for coffee. She'll overreact." The reactions came fast. Mutual friends started replying with shock emojis. Some messaged me privately. "Wait, is this real?" But the one that really lit the fire was the third post. It was Chloe's message to me from last Christmas. "Can you edit this photo? Make me look thinner, but don't touch my face. I don't want people thinking I use filters." I blurred her number, left her name out, but everyone recognized her tone. Within hours, the screenshots were everywhere, reposted, shared, commented on. Linda posted a story later that night, a pastel background that read, "Some people need to heal privately instead of seeking attention." It was vague, but everyone knew who she meant. So I answered, with one more post. A calm selfie, no filter, and a caption that said, "If you can shame me publicly, you can apologize publicly." That's when my DMs turned chaotic, strangers cheering, others accusing me of drama. But I didn't care anymore. For the first time in months, I felt steady. They thought I'd fade quietly, but I'd just found my voice. And I wasn't done speaking yet. By the next morning, my phone looked like it was on fire. Notifications piled in faster than I could clear them. People were choosing sides. Half of them were calling me brave, saying things like, "Good for you, girl." They deserved it. The other half accused me of being bitter, warning that revenge never ends well. But the only messages that truly got to me came from Ryan's family. First, "Linda," she texted, "Emily, I'm disappointed. I treated you like family. This is childish. Take those posts down." Then Chloe sent a voice note, her voice trembling with anger. "You're ruining our lives for likes. I hope you're proud." And finally, Ryan called, 8 missed calls in 1 hour. When I finally answered, his tone wasn't gentle anymore. "You've made your point," he snapped. "You're embarrassing yourself, not us." That line, embarrassing myself, the same words they'd been using against me all along. I didn't respond. I just hung up and posted one more story, the screenshot of his missed calls with a caption. Funny how they only want to talk when it's their reputation on the line. And that's when everything started spiraling. A gossip page picked up the story. Influencer's ex exposes family secrets in brutal Instagram posts. The comments section turned into chaos. People dug through old photos, noticed how Chloe had quietly deleted several posts. Someone even found an old video of Linda lecturing about class and kindness during a charity event and turned it into a meme. Suddenly, it wasn't my name being whispered anymore. It was theirs. Still, the more people cheered me on, the heavier it felt. Nights got quieter and I couldn't sleep. My phone was buzzing like a heartbeat I couldn't silence. Then one night, while scrolling through my messages, I found a folder I'd forgotten about, one that held the darkest truth of all. A screenshot I'd saved months ago, back when Ryan left his iPad logged into his family group chat. At the time, I'd told myself to forget it, pretend I hadn't seen it. But now, I couldn't unsee the words anymore. What they said in that chat, about me, about something deeply personal, was cruel in a way that changed everything. And once the world saw that screenshot, there'd be no turning back. I don't know what made me open that folder that night. Maybe curiosity, maybe pain looking for proof. But when I did, it felt like time froze around me. The screenshot was from a group chat called Family Only, Ryan, Linda, and Chloe. The date at the top made my stomach drop, the same week I'd miscarried. At first, I thought it was just old messages, until I read the words. Linda. At least now she can stop using that poor me act. Maybe this will humble her. Chloe. It's sad, but honestly, can you imagine her as a mom? She can't even keep a relationship alive. And Ryan. Ryan had replied with a single emoji. A laughing face. I remember gasping like I'd been hit. I couldn't breathe. I'd gone through that loss alone, sobbing on the bathroom floor while he claimed he was working late. And all the while, his family had turned my grief into gossip. I stared at the screen for a long time, hands trembling. Then I whispered, no, not anymore. The next morning, I posted it. Every word, unedited. The group chat, the date, the names. I wrote one caption. This is what they said while I was bleeding in silence. Within minutes, it went viral. People reposted, stitched, reacted. The comments section exploded. Thousands of strangers calling them monsters, sending me messages of support, women sharing their own stories of loss and cruelty. It was chaos. But underneath it all, I felt something like freedom. For hours, my phone wouldn't stop buzzing. Then around midnight, I heard a knock at my door. When I opened it, Ryan stood there. Eyes red, face pale, holding his phone like it was proof of his own downfall. Emily, he said quietly, please take it down. My mom's losing her mind. Chloe's getting death threats. This has gone too far. I just looked at him. The man I once loved, now standing in the wreckage he helped build. Too far? I whispered. You mocked my miscarriage. His jaw tightened. It was a mistake. No, I cut him off. It was a choice. He stepped closer, voice shaking. You've ruined everything. I smiled, a small broken smile. No, Ryan, you ruined me. I just showed the world how. He didn't say another word. He turned and walked away, shoulders heavy under the weight of his own silence. By morning, Linda's account was gone. Chloe had turned her comments off. Ryan deleted every post of us together. And me? I sat in bed, tears streaming down my face. Not because I was sad, but because for the first time in years, I felt seen. I hadn't planned to destroy them. I'd just wanted them to feel what they'd made me feel, exposed. And now, they finally did. The days after the post felt surreal, like living inside a storm that finally ran out of rain. At first, my phone wouldn't stop ringing. Reporters, podcast hosts, even women from support groups reached out, asking if I'd talk about what happened. I didn't. I couldn't. My voice still shook when I tried to say their names out loud. The internet had taken sides again, but this time the scales had shifted. People called Linda heartless. Chloe lost thousands of followers overnight. Someone leaked an email from a brand cutting ties with her, saying they didn't support cruelty. Ryan disappeared from social media completely. His business page went silent. A few of his old clients commented under his posts. Shame on you. Others posted screenshots of the group chat, saying they'd never work with him again. And me? I just watched, quietly, from the same phone that once showed me their laughter. At first, it felt like victory. Like justice. But after the noise faded, I realized something heavier was left behind. A silence that didn't feel peaceful. It felt empty. I'd gotten what I wanted. The world knew the truth. But that truth didn't fill the hole they left in me. I went back to therapy. I started journaling again, not for proof this time, just for healing. My therapist asked if I regretted posting it all, and for a long time, I didn't know how to answer. Because part of me did. Not because they didn't deserve it, they did, but because I realized revenge doesn't rebuild what they broke. It only evens the ground where you both stand wounded. Weeks passed. One night I opened my messages and saw hundreds of women sharing their stories. Women who'd been shamed, silenced, mocked for their pain. Some said my story gave them courage. Others just said, "Thank you for speaking what we couldn't." And that's when it clicked. Maybe this wasn't about revenge anymore. Maybe it was about voice, about taking back mine and helping others find theirs too. Ryan's family still hasn't apologized. Maybe they never will. But every time I open my phone now, I don't see them. I see messages from strangers saying, "You made me feel less alone." And somehow, that's enough. It's strange how peace doesn't come with silence. It comes with truth. For months, I tried to bury what they did, convincing myself that pretending it didn't happen would make the pain fade. But pain doesn't fade when it's ignored. It hardens, it waits, and one day, it demands to be seen. That's what my story became. Not revenge, not fame, just visibility. A way to show that even the quiet ones can scream when pushed too far. There are nights when I still think about Ryan, about how easily love can turn into something cruel when pride takes over. Sometimes I scroll past old photos I forgot to delete, us laughing at a fair, holding hands on the pier, and I wonder if he ever looks back and feels even an ounce of what I felt. Maybe he does. Maybe he doesn't. But it doesn't matter anymore. Because the truth is, I didn't post those screenshots to destroy him, or his family. I posted them to stop them from destroying me. It took me years to learn that forgiveness doesn't mean silence. It means acknowledging the hurt and choosing not to let it define you anymore. I've started writing again. Little essays about healing, about boundaries, about what it means to rebuild yourself after public humiliation. Sometimes I still get messages from people saying, "I wish I had your courage." And I always reply the same way. You already do. You just haven't needed to use it yet. If I could go back, I wouldn't change what I did. Not because it was perfect, and it wasn't, but because it taught me that truth has power, even when your voice shakes. So if anyone's watching this and wondering whether they should speak up, remember this. You don't need a crowd to believe you. You just need the courage to stop being quiet for people who never cared to listen. Because sometimes, the loudest revenge isn't a scream. It's the calm after everyone finally hears what you were trying to say all along.